Today's going to be a little bit of a psychology lesson. We're going to be talking about the power of collections in your product suite. That's right. We want to tap into the natural inclination all humans have to collect things. And we're going to look at what that might look like with your farm products. Let's get started.
Hey there, this is Corinna Bench, and welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast. In today's market, it's not enough to just grow your product. You've got to know how to sell it too. Welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast, where we reveal online marketing strategies and tips to help farmers like you get better and more confident at marketing. Learn how to find more customers, increase your sales, and build a strong brand for your farm. Let's start the show.
Welcome to episode 299 of the My Digital Farmer podcast. I'm your host, Corinna Bench, one of the farmers at Shared Legacy Farms out in Elmore, Ohio. I'm also the founder of MyDigitalFarmer.com, which is all about trying to help other farmers get more confident in their marketing and sales strategy so that you can grow a profitable business. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to the show. A big shout out to all of my regular binge listeners. And if you're new to the podcast and you just discovered me, I'm so glad you're here today. And there's an awful lot for you to listen to if you want to get caught up. Make sure you subscribe to the show. Go check out my first 10 episodes. That's always where I direct people if you're really new to the marketing space and you need to kind of learn the lingo. I designed them long ago to do just that, to walk you through the marketing jungle. But you can also certainly look through all of the archives, all 299 episodes, and see what strikes your fancy when you check out the titles. There's so much good stuff here, and I hope that you get a chance to find what you need. So thanks for being here. Now, if you also need additional help, you can get onto my email list by going to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe. And when you do, I'm going to send you an email roughly every 5 days for the next 3 months. It's going to give you exactly what you need to learn the ropes of marketing. I'm going to direct you to some of the best podcasts, influencers you should be following, key principles you need to know, foundational stuff. And if you just open those every single week for the next 3 months, you're going to be pretty far. So definitely subscribe, mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe. Today's episode is sponsored by my friends at Local-Line. If you're like me, winter is your downtime to plan and prep for the upcoming growing season. Set yourself up for success with Local-Line, the best sales platform built for farms. Local-Line is the most comprehensive software for farmers and food hubs that's out there, selling direct to restaurants, schools, wholesale buyers, running a CSA, and more. With features like e-commerce, automated inventory management, they have subscriptions, a box builder, point of sale, and more. Local-Line helps you grow sales. It saves you time and streamlines your operations. In fact, on average, this is cool, farms that use Local-Line grow sales by 23%, and they increase their average order size by 9.5% annually. So, ready to switch to sales software that does it all? Local-Line has no setup fees, no sales percentages, and your onboarding manager will migrate your storefront for free, so you'll be up and running in no time. As a podcast listener, Local-Line is also offering a free premium feature for 1 year with your subscription when you use my coupon code MDF2025. So to claim it, go to mydigitalfarmer.com/Local-Line and then enter that coupon code MDF2025. Don't wait. Start your season strong with Local-Line today. And now back to the show. Today's topic was inspired by a visit to the grocery store last month. I remember I was in the spice aisle and I happened to notice right at my eye level a whole new section of spices that I had never seen before. It was the Meijer brand. Meijer is our local grocery store. And this must have been Christmas time because as I'm looking at the photos that I took of those spices, some of them seem to be Christmas related. But I was struck by how many new spices there were, how colorful they were, and the fun names that they had. So listen to this. I'm actually staring at my iPhone right now. I was so struck by this moment that I took photos so that I could talk about it with you guys in an episode. So cinnamon roll, s'mores, snickerdoodle, avocado toast, bacon flavored salt, cherry balsamic, Chesapeake Bay style, chili lime, sriracha, dill pickle flavor, hot honey, ketchup flavored, Nashville style, and zesty ranch. Okay, this was just so fun. I thought to myself, first of all, kudos to whoever decided to name them this way. They were named so well, but the colors were like off the charts. Some of them almost looked fluorescent, oranges and yellows right next to each other in these contrasting pairs. And here's why I took a photo of it, because I noticed that I had a emotional reaction to seeing them there. They were so beautiful. They pulled me in. And I don't buy like loads and loads of spices. I'm not like the girl who has tons of spices in her spice cabinet, but I wanted to be in that moment. I just felt myself being called, buy me, because there were so many new ones, because they had so many fun names. I don't know what it was, but I had this urge to collect them. And that's what I want to talk about today, because I noticed that particular feeling coming up in me, and I thought, oh, this is how they get people to buy. This is brilliant. They create a whole bunch of different varieties because they know that we will want to collect them. Today's podcast episode is all about this concept of product collections and why they spark interest in your client and how you can maybe leverage them, use them to get people to spend more or to purchase something they might not have wanted to purchase before and try out your stuff. So in this episode, we're going to talk about how collections can boost your farm business, your bottom line, how they actually also end up inspiring customer loyalty and drive your sales higher. So let's start out first by just defining what a product collection is. It is a group of related products designed to complement each other and encourage buyers to collect them all. Have you ever heard that phrase? It brings back so many memories when I was a kid. I specifically remember when we were younger, walking home from school, and there was a Circle K gas station on the corner, and my brothers and I would go inside, and we would always buy a pack of baseball cards. My brothers were huge baseball card collectors. I would just buy them for the gum, and then I would give the cards to my brother. But they were collecting these cards, and my brother actually has a complete collection for several of those years, and he spent some decent money at one point in his life trying to get certain cards that were missing. And he would organize them in these big binders. He would reorganize them for fun in different ways. Like, we were all in, and we would play games with the baseball cards. Anyway, it was a big deal. And the reason why we bought these packs of baseball cards every single week was because we were trying to fill his collection. We fell into that marketing sales strategy. I want you to think about something that you collected when you were younger. I'm sure you had something. Maybe you have something you're collecting right now. Maybe you have a lot of farm tools or, like my husband, farm equipment. I joke with him that our driveway just keeps getting filled with more and more pieces of machinery and that we need to start selling some of them too. But think about what is the thing that you were collecting and what drove you to keep going back and getting another one. I'm thinking about my boys right now who, when we were maybe about 3-4 years ago, when we were homeschooling, they were really into this book series called The Wings of Fire. And if you are a mom with, boys that are in the middle school age or like, I don't know, 5th grade, this is a great series. This is about dragons, and my kids have read every single one of them. I think there's like 14 or 15 books now, and they've read them all like 7 times. And every time the author releases a new one or a new arc, they go back to celebrate and they read all 15 of the ones prior again. So they are hardcore, and they have purchased, I think we have a blanket with a Wings of Fire character on it, bed sheets, all kinds of stuff. So Wings of Fire, definitely a book series. And then my youngest son got really into the Warrior Cats books. And oh my gosh, that was ridiculous because there's like 85 of those, maybe over 100. We don't own all of those, but if it had been up to him, we would have collected them all. And then, of course, we can talk about our Lego collection because it's ridiculous. And I know I spent at least $5,000 on Legos over the course of their lifetime. I don't regret that one, though, because that has turned them into creative engineers. But we have this desire to just keep getting more, especially if they are packaged and presented to us in such a way that they belong in a collection. And it's clear that we should collect them all and finish it out, right? Round out our collection. So why are these collections so powerful? What's working on us in our minds? And I want us to kind of think about what are the implications for a business owner if you're selling something? How can we be aware of this principle and, use it to inspire people to try other things in our product suite? So in the psychology world, like, people love the psychology of completion. They want to collect a full set. And you will spot this in yourself. Now that I've talked to you about it, I want you to pay attention to how that's triggered in your life on a daily or weekly basis, because it comes up for me quite a bit. Whether it's things I want to purchase or whether it's, for me, it's reading. I like to go to the library and I like to find books that are in trilogies. And as soon as I start a trilogy, like, I've got to finish the whole trilogy. But it shows up in a lot of other places. Collections can also make a product feel exclusive and special. If it's not just a one-off, but it's part of a larger series, now it feels like you belong and that you're, you're part of a special club because you know the secret and you've watched all the things and you're like everyone else who's hardcore and into this product line. And it gives you a special status and exclusivity. Product collections, though, also create natural upsell opportunities. And I'm sure that you've heard this before, but, someone will tell you if you're trying to purchase something, they'll say, well, if you loved this, then you'll love this one over here, right? There's this natural ability to pair it with the thing that came before or to lump it together with things that are kind of similar. Now, remember, in the sales world, one of the ways that we can increase our revenue pretty significantly is by pulling the frequency lever. So this is getting a customer to come back and buy multiple times. So if you have one customer who spends, let's say $50 with you every time they shop, then one way that you can make more money is to get more people to come back and spend $50 with you every time they shop more than once, right? If there was a strategy we could develop to get people to come back and buy more frequently, that would pull the frequency lever. That would bring us more revenue. Similarly, if we can get people to spend more every time they do shop with us, that's called increasing the average order value. That's another way that we can pull a revenue lever, increasing the AOV. And so both of those levers can be pulled by using the power of collections. If you have a product that your customer always comes and buys on a weekly basis, and now you create another one that's very similar to it, a new variety, or that's naturally paired with it, now you've just given someone an opportunity to come back and add more things to their cart, or an excuse to, I'm going to go back next week and buy because I want to try that other variety that they just launched that's a lot like the one I like, right? So natural upsell opportunities. I also think that product collections have a visual appeal. So that experience that I had at the grocery store when my eye was drawn to the beautiful colors, the array was like a rainbow of color all lined up together. And I just was bedazzled by it. It was crazy. It was a sensory overload. And I felt compelled to go look at the bottles, to pull them out, to marvel at their names, and just kind of imagine what they would taste like. Right? So there's a visual appeal that comes with this. When you do a good job with your branding or your labeling or the placement or the colors, that can draw the eye in and be very attractive. Now, collections are a fantastic sales tool. And as I go through today's episode, I want you to be thinking about what is something that I have in my product suite right now that I could bundle into a collection. Or maybe you only have one or two things in your product suite. What is something I can add, a new product I can create and position it as part of a collection? So think in terms of like a series of books, like the Wings of Fire books, that a person reads that first one, gets drawn into the story, and there's a hook at the end, and they want to come back and read the second book because everything's been positioned and they need to know how the story ends. So they come and buy the second one, right? Like, how can we do something similar to that? How can we set up a trilogy, multiple arcs, whatever, to make people desire to buy more often? So a collection will turn one product into a series of touch points for your customer. Do you see that? So they may have just started out at the gateway product, like you say, start here, this is what everyone loves. But if you then have a collection, it makes it very obvious what the next purchase should be, and people are more likely to take that second step. Collections also make marketing campaigns easier because you can focus on a theme instead of trying to talk about a lot of different products you sell, and they all get some attention here and there. If they're positioned as part of a collection, you have a chance to talk about all of them together as one item and market the whole concept or the whole category, and then they have kind of some choice when they come in then to look at it. I'm thinking of like Farm Marketing School, which is the product I sell here with Digital Farmer, is a great example of that, because Farm Marketing School was built as initially as just initial one-off marketing workshops where I wanted to teach farmers, here's how you build an email nurture sequence. Let's get it done. Let's actually spend, a whole month making this the project and getting it built. And okay, here, let's work on how to put together a promotional calendar. Like, you need that for your year if you want to make revenue. Let's spend some time learning about it, and then you build it this month, right? I did a whole bunch of one-off workshops, and they are all kind of interesting in and of themselves and helpful. But then the more of them that I created, the more I began to see, well, I can actually collect them into one large school. Because before I would just sell them as one-off workshops. And now I'm like, well, let me just put them all into Farm Marketing School, and people will pay for access to the entire collection. And then they can just decide what they want. And every few months, I add another product, another workshop into the collection, right? There's something kind of simplistic about it. And it makes it easy for me to focus when I talk about it on the theme of, hey, I have workshops that teach marketing that help you build marketing assets. I don't have to find a way to talk about all 15 or 16 specific projects in my podcast or whatever, that gets confusing. Instead, I can lump them all into one generalized category of marketing workshops and advertise them that way, right? So it really allows you to focus and get clear and more simple in your language. And then, of course, it also encourages repeat purchases. We've already said that customers keep coming back to complete the set. So if you have a elaborate plan where you're developing some products, maybe they're value-added products, and maybe you're like, I think I can develop 5 or 6 this season, or 4 or 5, and you release a new one every couple weeks to your audience. And slowly by the end of the season, you have this collection that people can buy. That would be an example of leveraging this as a sales tool. So I wanted to try to think of some examples of collections in e-commerce, and I'm sure that you can think of some, but the ones that came to mind were like seasonal spice blends, flavored salts, sauces. I know when I do these different challenges and contests with my CSA members, I often offer some kind of a prize to our winner. And I like to go and look online for cool food-related bundles or collections of items and offer that as the gift. And so that's kind of where my head is right now, because we just came out of selling a chicken share, and I had a contest and somebody won a prize. And I told people, well, the prize is going to be a chicken marinade gift set. And it was really fun to go online and try to find, what are some collections? How can I collect a whole bunch of different types of marinades and put them into one basket? Or has somebody already done that for me where they've basically bundled it as a gift set? And there were all kinds of other options out there. There were spice blends, flavored salts, right? But for a farm business, what could that look like? I just think the possibilities are endless, especially in the value-added space. There are so many things so many different condiments that we could play around with. I was thinking of our trip to Kentucky, our vacation to Kentucky 2 summers ago, and how we discovered this soda called Ale 8, which if you're from that part of the country, you all know what I'm talking about, and you're nodding your head up and down. It's a delicious drink, kind of like a ginger ale. And you can only get it, at the time you could only get it in Kentucky or maybe just outside of the border of Kentucky. I think now you can probably buy it on Amazon. But they had a special limited edition blackberry soda, Ale 8, that was in the stores at the time, because we were there in July, which is blackberry season. And I found myself, because I turned into a super fan, we fell in love with the stuff, and we were buying it all week. And I found myself wanting to hoard some and bring back not just the classic original flavor, but all the different flavors that were offered, and especially the blackberry soda one, because I knew that it wasn't going to be around forever, and that one would be really hard to probably ever have again unless I timed my vacation just right. So I want you to just think through the lens of the stuff that you sell. Where do you see the possibility to create a collection? And what could that look like? This might mean you have to create a new product. Another thought is you could go and do some research. What do other farms like you sell in terms of collections? How do they bundle things? You could also try going to ChatGPT and asking it to help you identify some ideas. Give it some context, what kind of a farm you are, what kind of customers you sell to, what types of things you currently produce, and then just ask it to give you 10 ideas for collections, product collections that you could put together, how you could name them, how you would price them, and so forth. But for me, like herb bundles come to mind, soup starter kits, which could be like a mix of root vegetables or stocks or seasonings, even like your best of fill in the blank, or Farmer Kurt's favorite fill in the blank, Farmer Kurt's favorite tomatoes. We could just have a whole collection of all the different weird, cool heirloom tomatoes, and that could be one giant product, or we could sell them individually and encourage people to try a new one as they release every single week, right? Are you catching this here? So by having different varieties of things, sometimes bundled, but sometimes also offered individually so that people can come back the next week so that they can try the next one, you're encouraging this repeat habitual behavior of buying from you on a more frequent basis, or you're encouraging people to put more things into their cart when they buy. They're buying something that's got a greater value because it's a bigger bundle. And in either of those cases, you are increasing your revenue, which is what this is all about. So collections are a great way to practice growing your revenue number. Preserves and jams in coordinated flavors. This is another one that really pulls me in when I'm when I'm shopping at the market or at the store. I love to just look at all the different flavor combinations and the different honeys that are out there. Oh my gosh, don't even get me started. So if you're a meat producer, maybe there's meat packs with cuts that suit specific cooking styles, like grill packs or slow cooker packs, salsa packs. Yeah, even just in my journey of food sensitivities, I'm thinking through that lens now, like, is there a way that we could create collections of products that speak to people with food sensitivities and use some of the language that they would recognize? So FODMAP friendly. If you don't know anything about food sensitivities, you won't know what a FODMAP is, but like low lectin, I don't know, we have mushroom enthusiasts and we have kind of a mushroom line. So is there a way that we can create product bundles around mushroom products, all things mushrooms, right? So people will want to collect everything in the mushroom line. So how do you find your collection idea? Let me just give you a few thoughts. The first tip here is to look at what your customers already love. That's almost like a validation point. And this is a really important concept. I should probably do a whole episode just on product validation. But in the marketing space, before you produce a product, before you invest a lot of time in developing a new product and bringing it to market, you really ideally are supposed to test it out on your crowd on like a smaller level. And what that does is it validates or invalidates your product idea. It would be the worst idea ever, right? To spend all this money and time on a particular product launch and have a whole bunch ready to sell and then put it out there and it's crickets. You only have a few people that buy it. So you want to have a validation process to test the waters and see if this is actually a good idea. And this is why, looking at what do your customers already purchase? What are some of the favorite things? Going to them with this idea, what would you asking them, like, what else would you like to see? Or if you have this idea, bringing it to your clients and saying, would you be willing to test this, be a beta tester? Today's podcast is sponsored by Farm Marketing School. This is my monthly online membership program for beginning to intermediate farmers that's designed to teach you the ropes of farm marketing, but also, more importantly, to help you actually build the most essential marketing assets that you need to have in your farm business if you want to thrive. Now, I know you know how important systems are. You have systems in your business for all kinds of things in the production realm, but you also need systems in your marketing and sales, especially if you want to scale up and get to that point where you can have a team, hire a great group of people, and be less and less involved in the minutia of your business. So inside of Farm Marketing School, there are over 15 different classes that you can take. You join for a monthly fee and you can have access to all of them. You can binge them all if you want, or you can be selective about which ones you want to deploy. They're each designed to take about 30 days, and you watch the training video, and then you actually build that particular marketing asset, whether it's updating the homepage of your website, or it's writing an email nurture sequence, or it's practicing writing a weekly email really well, or building out different kinds of promotion offers. So many different projects inside of there. I also give you a resource folder with examples and templates to shortcut the process. Sometimes I have bonus videos that give you a step-by-step of how to do the tech work. It's really good. It gets really high marks. So I encourage you in your off season to take some time and invest in building out the sales and marketing systems in your business. To join Farm Marketing School and try it out for a month, head to mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS. And now back to the show. Also think about products that naturally complement each other, because it's going to make it a whole lot easier for you to pair those items together, or to say, well, if you liked this, you'll probably like that. Consider seasonal trends or events. This is where holidays can help you. Holiday themed collections go really well. Or if somebody is looking for a gift at certain times of year, then you can be thinking through the lens of what does this gift need to accomplish for the buyer during this season, during the time of Mother's Day, during the season of Christmas. I'm always harping on advent calendars, but I feel like that is an untapped template that we could be leveraging as farm businesses, is coming up with some kind of a bundle that basically takes a lot of our products or some of our favorite products, maybe not even things that we actually produce, where we bundle them all together and say, here are my favorites, or here's a sampling of our cheeses in 24 little windows, right? I've seen that with beer and with wine, like 24 different samples of beer and wine. And those are collections. And that's one of the reasons why advent calendars do so well, or the 12 days of Christmas type of products. I think why they do so well in our culture is because we like collecting things, and we know we're going to do this thing for 24 days, or we're going to open a window, and that's just kind of a novel way of doing it. So consider seasonal trends, and then start small. So try just bundling 2 or 3 items, or coming up with 2 or 3 varieties of something, and then expand based on customer feedback. I also think it's a great idea just to go and research other markets, other grocery stores. We're currently working on developing a prepared foods line, like a value-added type arm in our business, which I'm really excited about. I'm also nervous about it. I'm expecting there to be some bombs, but also some really big wins. But one of the things that I'm trying to figure out is what are we going to develop? What products will do well? And at the beginning, I'm like, I don't even know. I don't even know what you could sell. I watched my share of value-added workshops that farmers have presented, so I have kind of a running list there. But I had this idea, well, I'm just going to go to Trader Joe's, and I'm going to walk around the refrigerated aisle, and I'm going to see what kind of stuff are they selling there. And when I see a particular item, how much of that item is actually in stock, because that will give me a clue as to how much of it sells in any one given day. So if there's a large volume of that particular item on the shelf, then I know that it moves quickly and that it's popular, right? So that might be something you could do too, is just to figure out, as you're doing product development, just take a look at what are the things that are currently for sale at some of these markets, and lump them into categories, and then just be like, what am I excited about? What's something that would be easy for me to try in a small test trial where there isn't a ton of investment on my end, because it could not go well, right? It could be not popular, and then you're not really out a whole bunch of time or money. And then be aware of the visuals. So products that have really strong aesthetics are going to make better collections. So, when you think about the medium of books, like the book cover matters when you're putting a trilogy together. Or, when you look at the Wings of Fire series, the covers are all done by the same illustrator. They all have the same style. It's always this gorgeous, bright picture of a dragon, and it just pulls you in, and you just kind of want to collect them for the art of the book cover itself. But like that whole story at the beginning with the spices. Like they were just they were bright, they were gorgeous. The branding and the labels were drawing me in. So be thinking about your product. Is it pretty? Does it have an aesthetic, a visual appeal? Because that will help you. Brand them with some catchy names that will either hit on an emotion or bring back a memory or suggest a purpose for it. Now, remember I was sharing some of those names of the spices, like cinnamon roll. They could have just said cinnamon, but they said cinnamon roll. And that immediately brings me back to my kitchen when I was a kid and we would eat cinnamon rolls. And then it suggests to me how I could use that spice to make cinnamon rolly type things, even though I could probably just buy cinnamon. That's what I usually do when I make cinnamon rolls. I buy cinnamon. What else is in the cinnamon roll spice? I didn't even look, but it's suggesting to me, you should make cinnamon rolls tonight, right? So the name itself can evoke emotion. It can suggest how it should be used. That one that was for s'mores, brilliant, right? Oh, let's use this the next time we have s'mores. Wouldn't even occur to me to use a spice on s'mores, but now, because it's named that way, I have that suggestion. Let's see, share the story behind the collection when you're marketing it. So why was it created? How is it meant to be used? As you're beginning to launch it or pitch it, don't forget, like, you have to talk about it. You have to kind of give suggestions for how it should be utilized in the kitchen. But it's also just interesting to be like, if there's a cool story for how it came about, talk about that. Show it. If you're using it in your kitchen in a unique way, explain that and give them ideas for its use. Offer discounts for purchasing the full collection. I think this is a huge one. I'm not usually a big fan of always using discounts because I think it trains the customer to wait for the discount. But if you have a lot of them in your collection, then yeah, maybe it's worth it to offer a discount, because what that ends up doing is getting the person to spend more in that average order value, right? It raises the AOV. And at the right kind of price point, that's definitely a good idea. And then finally, ask your customers to share their collection photos as social proof. I'm trying to think where I recently saw this. Oh man, I can't, the thing that comes to mind the most is like musicians. So like Taylor Swift, when she releases a new album, like everybody just wants to go and collect it and like say, I've got it. Like I've just purchased it, and they want to showcase it and show it off and let everyone know. There's this element when you're a super fan and a new product in the collection has just released. If you do your job right as a marketer and like kind of build a little bit of a pre-launch runway, and it's a big rah-rah event when you release it, like everyone runs to grab one, especially if it's like limited edition, and they can't wait to tell everybody, I got it. I've got it. Look, it's now in my collection. And sometimes they'll even showcase the entire collection of products that they have as like in a photo, or they'll talk about it. So use your customers' excitement and use their user-generated content. If they take a picture of a meal using that particular product and post on it, well, then ask them for permission to have that particular asset so that you can repurpose it. Or you could even ask your customers, you could even plant some of them, reach out to 5 of your core customers and say, I'm going to give you this new variety in the collection for free. And in return, I'd like for you to leave a testimony or, go onto social media and talk about it, right? Create an arrangement in advance so that they help you promote it. Okay, so to recap, collections, they are a brilliant way to engage customers. They are a brilliant way to drive repeat business and to increase that average order value. I want you to really think about, how can I create a collection in my farm business, if you don't have one yet, and I'm kind of raising my hand here, like I don't feel like we have always aced this. And this is one of the reasons why we're excited about starting this prepared foods line, because I think there's so much promise here for attracting a new customer base, developing products that people will want to try and collect and add to what they're already doing with our farm, buying our CSA or just buying from our store. And I think there's a ton of opportunity here, especially in the value added space, but even among like those of you who are just vegetable growers, we grow multiple different kinds of beets. Like even the option to collect a beet, a different variety, and try this beet, try the Cayuga, try the red, try the within the varieties of reds, try the golden, put them all together in one meal and on a platter, right? We need to coach our customers. There's lots of different taste variations among these different cultivars and help them discover that so that they want to ascend through your entire product suite, try every little thing until they find their favorites. That's sort of the goal. I think I'll end with this. In the marketing framework that I teach inside of our marketing school, there are 8 different steps that customers kind of move through as they go on a customer journey through your brand. One of those steps is called the ascension ladder phase. And this is towards the end. It's after someone purchases and converts for the first time, after they go through what's called the excite phase and they enjoy your product, they find value in it, they're all excited, they feel like they're growing, they can't wait to come back again. And then they come back because they want to have that feeling again. They want to buy that product again, or they want to try something new. And you as a business need to be there waiting with arms open wide with a ladder of products. That's why it's called the ascension ladder, to guide them through and say, and now you'll buy this, and how about this one? And how now this variety. And if you liked that, I bet you'll like this. And you just keep giving them product after product idea after product idea. And they just keep going through that circle of buying something, enjoying it, getting excited about it, wanting to come back and try again. If you can build a great product ascension ladder and a process to guide them through it, it will be much more likely that they buy from you multiple times, much more likely that you pull that frequency lever. And there's a reason they call the ascension ladder phase the profit maximizer phase, because that is where you will make your money in your business, getting your customers to the profit ladder. So collections is one of the key ways that we do that. We have to have things to sell. We have to make more offers. And sometimes that means bundling things together or creating new products and suggesting something else for our customers to try. So this week, your homework is to take a look at your current offerings and see if you can create a collection from the stuff you already have. Just bundle it together, name it something else, package it a different way, position it a different way. Maybe remove it from your store for a season in your business, and then it only arrives for 4 weeks in your year when it's available, and then it just sells like crazy, right? Just play around with how you offer it. The other option is for you to actually create a product collection, to brainstorm what that could look like. And maybe step 1 for that is just to do some research and figure out what could it even be. Walk through your local Trader Joe's or your farmer's market, or go to other farmers and ask them what's selling well in your farm store. What are your collections, and learn what those categories are. All right, my friends, that's all I got today. Today's show notes can be found at mydigitalfarmer.com/299. And if you like today's episode, or if you just had your mind blown from something that was said today, would you please go leave me a rating or a review? Or go tell someone who needs to hear today's message about the show. It's how we get the word out, and I really appreciate all of you who have been doing that. Now, if you want to get onto my email list to get some more farm marketing wisdom and tips, I have some free stuff to send you to make your marketing better. And you can go to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe. I also invite you to go check out Farm Marketing School for a month and see if that particular resource will help you. I'm inside there every single month coaching my students, and you can learn more about that at mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS. Thank you for joining me today. Have a wonderful week. And remember, I believe in you, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.